We are back for round two here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all music, all sports, and all wrestling matters. And we have a treat because we are still in that datitude era. And we're going to talk about that datitude era because we got, boy, I'm excited. You know, earlier this afternoon, you got a chance to see the Cheenies and Ice-T Curtis, and they had plenty to say about this little show at the Milford Mall, Milford Mania 2026. And they got a pretty big match. They're in the main event, but this man's got a match. I mean, you want to talk about big matches, and this man has been in some. He's definitely been into big matches. We've talked about a few of them over the past couple of years, but I think this one might be the biggest one of his career. Well, until his next appearance on Sportswire Radio, we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about stepdad versus stepdad in Matt Pro Wrestling. Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll also talk about ISPW and a show coming up here, which is a few weeks now, and hopefully they don't cancel that due to the weather because, boy, there's polar vortex and winter storms, and, you know, I hope when we see him here in the summer that nobody will complain about the heat, but I think he's going to heat things up here because we have plenty to talk about. I am excited about this one. We'll see if I blew my mic out as I did earlier in the show. And if you're out there in the chat, tell me if my mic sounds like I'm underwater because I hope it's not going to be. But so we'll certainly, I'm sure, get to the bottom of it. But it is my great honor to introduce this man. He has done so much for the wrestling world. And he's got his own show coming up, which I'm going to talk about that as well. So he'll certainly be hopefully taking over for me on Sports by Brady. He once upon a time did that all those years ago as, let's say, name Rad Hazard, ring a bell. But we hope that we won't have any hazards here due to the weather or due to the microphone technical difficulties. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show off here in style on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station where all music, all sports, and all wrestling matters. So with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one cable sports show, the man that sits on the top of the throne as the reigning, defending GBYWN World Heavyweight Champion and the reigning, defending Metro Wrestling Grand Champion for now over 230 days. His name is simply put Red Redhead Radley Belmont. The double champ is here, my friend. How are we doing?
Holy Toledo, my friend. As always, you are knocking it right out of the park. Holy cow. As always, it's not a dad bod, it's a father figure. I've been working hard at the gym. I've been working out, working on the abs. I really don't have abs. I have like one ab. But it's getting there, you know? It's all part of the dad bod look and everything. No one's ever told me in my entire career, no one's ever said, like, hey, you got to lose 10 pounds.
I know I've never wrestled before, but, you know, my mom is not here listening to this, but I never forget it was 1 year, and she said I almost had a six-pack. She said, you almost have a six-pack, almost, which was, you know, because I've always stayed in shape in different ways. Like, you almost got a six-pack. It was kind of weird in that moment, but, I mean, it's obviously very good to see you and a lot to talk about, and I want to certainly get to people's comments, and I should get right into it because for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, what did I just see when it was stepdad versus stepdad last month? Matt Pro Wrestling?
Well, we had a little event called the Battle of the Stepdads. And boy, you want to talk about somebody who doesn't care about abs? I mean, Big Papa Bear is one big man, and he is even though he's lost weight, he's always going to be a Hulk. He might as well have been a defensive lineman or something. He's always going to.
Well,
be
he'll be betting, I'm sure, on defensive linemen tomorrow in the big game. I'm sure he's got that scouted out. Yeah.
1,000%. He should really be an analyst or something, I tell you.
Yeah,
but yeah, and then the whole, you know what? I'll tell you this. My grandfather, former boxer, former bull
Yes,
rider.
I remember you telling me many times here on the show. Absolutely.
My father, former mixed martial art, or just martial artist. He didn't maybe he mixed them. I don't know. But he just martial artist. None of them. Nobody in my family ever had abs. I'll tell you that right now. So this is just generic. This is how it is. This is how it is, and I'm still a 60-minute man. Don't worry about that.
I know. Listen, you could go out there in the ring and listen to in this sport. I'm like, listen, in this sport, I like
42 minutes under theater lights, and I captured this by pinning Darius Carter. If that doesn't tell you,
I mean, we spoke about that, and you have a match coming up later on when I get to the TF Crew Milford Mania. Absolutely. That I'll be curious on. But I'm going to put the footage up here shortly, and
Please do.
you and Papa, I have it right in front of me. I'm going to do that because you are the boss. But I mean, I don't want to get slapped like you did when we'll talk about your most recent match in TF Crew. But I mean, wrestling Papa Bear, we don't see it often. You've done it before, but I mean, talk to me about preparing, if at all, for your tag team partner, the man you know better than anybody.
I wanna meet the man who said, I prepared to get hit by a truck. Tell me how you prepare to get hit by a bus, because I've yet to meet a man who did the proper training. No. But the thing is, Papa Bear and I became a tag team because we wrestled each other so many times. I'm talking 2011, 2012, 2013, all the way up to 2017. We were wrestling each other all the time. We were arch nemesis. And the fact of the matter was, once we had that mutual respect, it was easy. I mean, we're both dads at heart. We got the dad jokes. We got the dad bods. We got the father figures. Let's make a team out of this. Let's make a unit. And I've seen a lot of tag teams come and go. A lot of great teams that I thought would stand the test of time. And the Stepdads, here we are, nearly 10 years later. I'm going to say 10 years. I think it'll be all right. As the Stepdads, and even though I have singles gold, Papa Bear's won a singles title here and there. We're still a tag team.
Yeah.
And this is a humongous example of it. The last time I wrestled Papa Bear.
Yeah, I mean, I was yeah.
Oh, well, last time I wrestled Papa Bear was in 2019. And that was because we were on a losing streak and we wanted to toughen each other up again. And we toughened each other up so much that after we had that match, I challenged for the New York Championship Wrestling Heavyweight title against Johnny Moran the very next month in the main event. So
yes, we spoke about that in the past, for sure.
That's the kind of fight that we bring out of each other. It's real. It's a real sportsmanship, that killer instinct. We bring it out of each other. And once in a while, we need to do that. Papa Bear saw that I had won the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand title, a title that means so much to me because of the autism awareness that they try to spread. Like, this is a company that doesn't just have wrestling matches for wrestling matches. They're not just doing shows because it's fun. Like, they're trying to have a real message. They have an identity. They say people, successful people have a gimmick or whatever they want to call it, a persona. I think wrestling companies should have that as well. You think of ECW, they had a persona, they had an aura.
Yeah.
Same with WCW, obviously the Attitude Era. Ring of Honor had a persona, and Matt Pro Wrestling has that. They care about autism awareness. They care about believing in yourself, and it's this company that brought that out of me, where I wanted to be the workhorse. I wanted to be the sole survivor, the last man standing. And I did. I toppled Darius Carter. And throughout all of these title defenses I've had, Jack Martins, Sal Mistretta, all these guys going to 5 different promotions, by the way, defending in TF Crew and Pro Wrestling Magic and places like that, defending this title. Papa Bear felt like he got left behind. And I didn't see that. I really didn't see that because he was wrestling for other titles. He wrestled for the Mat Pro Wrestling MPH medal. It's a time limit title. He's unsuccessful, but I thought he was happy to do things on his own. And it turns out he wasn't. He really wanted to be challenged. He felt like he got shafted because he wasn't even in the singles tournament. So what better way to fix this and to be a family again? We're just going to go one-on-one. And the crowd wasn't dead set on just cheering for me or just cheering for Papa Bear. They wanted us to get all this aggression out of us so we could be a team again. Whether it's singles matches or tag matches, we are a team. And I had to prove that with this. In my opinion, this is the most brutal match I've had.
I know. I watched it a couple of times because it's been up on the Mat Pro Wrestling YouTube page for a little while. So when I'm hearing you talk about this, and tell me your thoughts. I know you've been here a lot in the past, and you've talked about Papa Bear. But if I gave you the term healthy competition when it came to this match, what do you say?
I think stuff like this needs to happen more often in wrestling. You know, I'm taking on these guys who kind of, you know, they're dirty fighters. They're dirty fighters. Let's be real. That's how they get to the top. They're dirty fighters. Not all the time. Sal Mastretta, you know, he fights with heart. But
you mentioned Jack Martins. Certainly, Jack Martins is, you know,
Jack Martins hasn't. I don't know if there's been a show where we've wrestled where he hasn't tried to choke me out.
I had the Cheenies on, and we brought Jack Martins and Zach Ruby were certainly a topic earlier today. That was definitely a point of discussion earlier, for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I fully support the Cheenies in their mission at this point.
What an honor it was to have them and Ice-T finally on here. It was so nice to have finally met them. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last tag team match I ever had in GTS wrestling wasn't with Papa Bear. It was with the Cheenies because I believe in the Cheenies. So
me too. Me too.
That leads me to this here. Like, I wasn't worried about Papa Bear like trying to fight dirty. He's just gonna hurt me. You know what I mean? Did he fight a little dirty? I guess. A little aggressive, maybe. That's how I look at it because there's no excuse. At the end of the day, you're a winner or you're a loser. I'm not the kind of guy that runs around going like, "Oh well, you know, the fate of the gods fell on me today, and I'm real. You know, it's not my fault." Oh man,
right.
I grew up, you know, around guys and girls who toughen things out. You know, my grandmother worked in a hospital and then retired and still went and helped and volunteered at that hospital until she passed away. She didn't have to do that. She left her house in a wheelchair to help people because that's what you do in life. You just keep going forward. And so win, lose, or draw in this match, I knew that the result at the end was what was most important to me. And if he was the better wrestler, that would have been fine because the stepdads would have the title. As you'll see, who was the better stepdad this night, you'll find out in a minute if you don't know.
All right, well, let me ask you another question on this because I'm hearing you talk about this championship and I'm hearing you talk about what it means to you. And I know we're over half a year in as champion, but I'm curious, considering the demeanor of Papa Bear in this match. You guys team together, you ride together. I mean, there's obviously a relationship that we all know. Did he ever talk to you during the last 6 months? And when the title came up, you felt, maybe, I don't know if there's jealousy or maybe some type of, he gave you maybe a different reaction or mannerism that you weren't used to when it came to Papa Bear, which maybe led to some of what we saw in the match? I mean, I'd be curious about that for the audience.
If you asked me that in say October, I wouldn't have noticed. Wade's a snarky guy. He's a sarcastic guy. You know, a lot of people really like me. It takes a certain type of person to like Wade. He's got a little bit of an attitude, a mean streak. People always say I'm the nice dad, and he's kind of a little more of a son, you know.
Good cop, bad cop. That was the old thing used to say with parents. Good cop, bad cop.
Oh yeah, and I'm absolutely the good cop in all this. You know, really, my wife's kind of the bad cop, but we won't get into that. But Wade is the bad cop of the family in our tag team as well in the Step family, and because of that, I'll be honest, I really didn't see the lines, and unfortunately, we need to open up more. That's something that, like, the modern era, I'm very happy that people are like that these days, that they talk more about their feelings, that they bring that up. I bring that up with my wife and our kids and stuff, but I think it's just one of those things where Wade really didn't open up as much about that. And we had a lot of other stuff going on. We've been wrestling a lot of other promotions. We had a lot of our opportunities. I like to think that maybe he was just more focused on winning in these other companies than being bitter. And I think it finally boiled over at some point. Probably when he got that number one contendership. When he won last show and found out that he was a top contender and got that shot. I think that's when he did it in a productive way. Do I appreciate they shoved me on the ground? No. I mean, it would have been nice if we just shook hands, but you get two men in the ring, or in any situation like that. Hey, I don't expect us to hug and shake hands and go, "May the best man win." Like, that's not really how you win. That's not the competitive spirit. The competitive that happens afterwards.
That's fair. I think that's a fair point. I do want to jump a comment to the front of the line here, because Copper Dragon was here and he wanted to say, "Always a joy to see you, Rad. I continue to stand in awe at all you've accomplished and the heights you continue ascending to. The story of your body of work goes far behind any score I could give." So thank you to Copper Dragon, Mr. Dragon, and I appreciate you. And if you're here in the chat, tell me if my mic sounds okay, because I know when I did the show at the Cheenies, I felt like my mic was underwater. So just let me know if you're out there, if you hear me loud and clear. But Rad Dad's definitely loud and clear on top of the rope, and unfortunately
I was going for an elbow drop. That would have been the second elbow drop in my professional wrestling.
Yeah, you're not a top of the rope guy. You're not the high rent district. You're not.
I'm trying to branch out. I think that's a huge part of how I've grown as a champion and as a top level wrestler. And I'd say top level just because I'm in a lot of main events, and that's the thing. Like for that example, in this match, I did 2 suicide dives in a row. I saw the opportunity and I went for it. And that's something maybe a year ago I wouldn't have done, the top rope elbow drop.
Yeah, because you talked last year at this time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the top rope elbow drop.
Yeah, I was going to
doing, and now I don't. I never thought about it again. And in the match with Jack Martins, I nailed it, and I think it's going to be a part of my repertoire when it's necessary.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I remember last year, one of the things you said was that you have a certain way of going about doing things, and that's something that you normally don't like to do, but you've done plenty of it here in the match, and we're watching Papa Bear Wade Kruger against the one and only Rad Dad Radley Belmont here. He is the Mad Pro Wrestling Grand Champion, and if you're out there, hit the sub button for Rad. I'll put his YouTube channel up, also his Instagram, and also his X accounts. We'll put them up shortly. And I want to thank my friend Hillbilly Tilly, who just shared the link on X. So I've been trying to get my X up back again. So thank you, Hillbilly Tilly. And we appreciate you very much for being here. And if you're out there, hopefully stay warm. I got to ask you this question, because I know you've been in the ring many times against Papa Bear. But compared to wrestling him right now in this match, how different is this match from when you previously wrestled him all those years ago?
Before I answer that, I do want to mention I fell onto a chair out there. For some reason, somebody put a chair next to the ring. So when I fell out, I fell onto a chair. That sucked. Anyway.
That does suck. And you know what? And I would hope, please, if you're out there, in a wrestling show, don't put chairs where the performers are, out there. We do value them, and we value their safety, because many of them do come on Sportswire. So we really do want to value our wrestlers.
And I would say that for fans and staff, please.
Yes, please, because you guys can beat them up.
But I'm glad you asked that question at this exact moment, because if you saw there, I got pounced out of the ring. I went out of the ring. I fell on a chair. I'd say 2 years ago, Papa Bear would have followed me outside. and that would have been a mistake. He wanted to win the title. He wanted to stay in the ring. He was waiting for me to come back in and exert the energy of having to get back into the ring. I'm not going to sit out there and take 5-minute breather. You know, we got 10 seconds. It's referee's discretion, but we got 10 seconds. I want to get back in there, and I want to hit him again. And it's these pacing moments for him. He is a ball of energy that strikes where admittedly, like I said, I got the dad bod. I'm a 60-minute guy. I take my time, and a lot of times I end up having to fight from underneath. And it's a little bit of like a rope-a-dope kind of thing, a Rocky kind of thing where I let the wrestlers wear themselves out. And when they get tired or they slip up, they can hit as many moves as they want on me. I only have to get them with one roll-up. I have to get them with one stepdad stunner. And once I hit that, or once I get that roll-up and I got it clenched in, I got that S-grip in, I know I got the win. And I will wait for that opportunity. That's what makes me different from a lot of other wrestlers. You know, the strategy is to, work out a specific body part or work whatever the case may be to get to their big move or whatever the case may be. I'm waiting for opportunities. I'm looking for openings. And at this point in the match, as you see, Wade is turning it into a slugfest in his benefit because he's taking his time. He's taking his time. And here I am trying to come back from underneath, and he's got my number right at this point. All I know that a lot of people can't handle the way I wrestle just because they would break. They would break before it would happen. Like right here, bam.
But he knows you better than anybody. He goes back with you 15 years, so he knows exactly what he needs to do, especially kind of around the halfway mark of this match. He knows exactly how you are and how you go about things, and that's why he certainly right now has the tempo and the pace the way he would like to take away that championship you have with you right now.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that my tag team partner is this smart and this tough. And I would say probably by this point in the match, right around this point in the match, this is probably the longest we've ever wrestled each other in all the matches we've had. This is definitely the longest in the, I can't give you an exact time. So maybe one was slightly longer. I don't know. But, but by the time the match is said and done, this is definitely the longest match the two of us have ever had. It's definitely probably twice as long as the shortest match we ever had. And I think that really goes to Wade knowing the longer the match goes, the more it benefits him. And I'm not saying this is going to work for everybody else, but Papa Bear, as long as he takes his time, he's going to hit me with the hardest shots of my career. And he knows that. And he doesn't have the cocky attitude of a Darius Carter. Darius Carter could destroy somebody, with a big kick or two or a pile driver.
Well, Darius Carter, first of all, listen, Darius Carter was a man we talked about was in the upper half of the top of the PWI 500. Darius Carter is a man, this is, arguably the most accomplished independent wrestler not to have been in any of the major promotions. So he's going to go into it the way he is. But it's interesting to me that you said the longer the match goes, it favors Papa Bear. But I would have thought it would have favored you, champ, because I would figure because of your agility and because I would think you'd have a little bit more speed than Papa Bear. I would feel the longer this match goes, it would be advantage you because you would have the opportunity to kind of tire him out because you talked about the rope-a-dope, and that was the whole famous George Foreman, Muhammad Ali, and George Foreman, kind of like Papa Bear, was certainly attempting to wear you out, and that's why I kind of would have thought the longer the match goes, champ, it would be advantage Radley Belmont.
Well, look at this right here at this point. Wade's going to start getting frustrated. You're going to see him start throwing punches. He went from a marathon to now he's going back to a sprint. When I talk about the amount of time in the match, I'm not talking about the length of the match. I'm talking about how much energy is he exerting at one time. And once he exerts too much energy too quickly, he's going to tire himself out, and that's going to give me an opportunity to come back. And I'll be honest, Wade probably was the closest to winning the title of all of my challengers so far. And that's no knock on them. That's just because he knows me and he had a strategy. The problem, I would say, if you want to call it a problem, it's a solution for me. But the problem for him was the fact that he started rushing it. He started to run out of ideas. He didn't know what to do. And ultimately, I did. I had a plan from minute one. Think of it
Well,
this
that's
way.
why
I
you're the
expected him
listen.
to
That's
tire
why you're
himself
the
out.
incumbent. Yeah.
Yeah, I expected him to tire himself out, and he really didn't until way later than I expected. Think of it that way.
Okay, fair. I mean, and I would think that you would have a plan, but it's also interesting that he gets frustrated, which you start to see during the match when he's a veteran. And I would figure as a veteran, you would know exactly what it takes to get over the finish line. But maybe that goes back to a point that you said at the very beginning when we were talking about the match, and that you've won now many singles championships, whereas Papa Bear has not. So in a big match, in a big game situation, tomorrow's the big game as an example, you have that confidence, you have that experience that you know you can win the big one. Whereas Papa Bear hasn't, from a singles perspective, hasn't quite been there as much as you.
You nailed it right on the head. 2 years ago, I would have been in this exact situation. Well, not this exact situation, this awesome elbow drop, but I would have been in the same scenario because maybe not 2 years ago. Let's go a little further back. But when we were exclusively a tag team, I almost never won singles matches. My focus was on the tag team wrestling. So when I went into singles competition, yeah, I was competitive. Absolutely. Yeah, there were chances where I could have won here and there. But the fact that I didn't proves that I wasn't ready yet. You know, I had so much focus on one division of wrestling that I neglected the other. And it was really going to GTS and being a singles wrestler there for so long, having somewhere around 200 singles matches in that time. It gave me
Yeah.
so much experience that Wade, unfortunately, it's not a knock at all, but he doesn't have that singles experience. Whereas, you know, as a tag team, I'll be honest, we've kind of been a little shady here and there. We haven't won as many tag team matches lately. Is that because I've been so focused on singles wrestling? I don't know. But hopefully we can turn that around in time. But as far as singles competition goes, I just feel like I'm ahead of the game just out of experience. And as a tag team, I know we can turn things around very soon, especially with him not knocking me out like this, me being a little healthier, a little more conscious. But I mean, we're talking. I mean, look at that driver, that curfew driver, almost took me out.
You know, I didn't want to ask this till the match ends. I know we're closing in on the last quarter of it, but going forward with the outcome of this match, was that a bone of contention afterwards? The way you guys went at each other. I mean, going forward, is there any concerns? I have to ask because of the amount of competition. I brought up healthy competition. You did kind of agree with me, but with a match like this that had so much on the line going forward, do you feel like as a team, you guys will be back to the way it was and you'll go back off your merry way? What's your thoughts?
1000%. I mentioned the 2019 match. We toughened each other up.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason we became a tag team, man, we beat the heck out of each other. And then we'd go to a party afterwards and we'd hug it out and laugh, you know, you hit me real hard, man. Oh, I got you with a good chop, though. You know, that's where the friendship comes from. I think now we're probably even closer friends because of this. I think we're going to be a better team because of this. And we have a lot of tag team action coming up with UWC and ISPW. Now, I think
I'm going to promote that in a little while. Absolutely. I have a poster for that
absolutely.
ISPW. Absolutely.
And those are two potential tag team divisions that we could be champions of very soon in the next couple of months. And I would absolutely love that. And it's awesome to think that all that tag team gold could come from this singles match. But that's the reality of it. And even look at this right here. Wade is already up before I am. That's how I was able to outlast him, but by just waiting for the opportunity. I had to wait for the right opportunity. And I got the 3 because he can beat me to the point where I can't get up. I just got to beat him till the point where he can't move his shoulders for 3 seconds. And those are two very different strategies. Those are two very different strategies. Right here, I'm fully expecting maybe this is the end. And what I tell you, Wade kind of got his licks in, and he's happy. He's happy
Well,
about it.
I mean that's
That's all we ever strive for. That's why we became a tag team. And I'm smiling my head off because I originally really thought this was going to be the way that we would shake hands and pose and have this tag team back again.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, certainly that was that. And I do want to also give a shout out to Ice T Curtis, who shared the link on X. So thank you, Ice T Curtis, who did share the link on YouTube. Yes, we talked a lot about him. It was a lot of fun. Although I did joke about the water in Bayonne, but I did give him a little bit of and I joked about the water in Bayonne. I can see the Bayonne Bridge from where I live if I walk 5 blocks down, but I did say the sandwiches are very good in Bayonne, so he was happy about that. So it wasn't all bad there. But we loved having him. But there you are, and you've got that championship that you valued so much. And I did want to ask you now that we've closed in on about 250 days as the Matt Pro Wrestling champion. Right now, we're looking at about almost 240 as we speak. And that longest champion. What does that mean to you, champ?
It means the absolute world because, like I said before, this is the first major singles title I've had on the independent level. And to have the title, I mean, I literally have it right here. It's absolutely beautiful. Gold chains, all this. I mean, look at that. Look how cool that is. A lot of people talk about like, oh, it's a belt, it's a strap, yada, yada, yada. To me, it's a trophy, and people need to start treating their championships like trophies. They really are trophies, and Matt Pro Wrestling understands
absolutely that. I had a wrestler on Tuesday who had won a championship in West Virginia, and he talked about what that championship meant to him. And he was saying what you said. People say wrestling, a championship, sometimes it's a prop, it doesn't mean something. But no, it does mean something because of the value and what they see and what you're doing to represent the company. So there's no question that this championship means something, and Matt Pro Wrestling means something. And if you'd like to hit the sub button for Matt Pro Wrestling, where you can see a lot of content there, some of the names we spoke about in the last few days have been a part of Matt Pro Wrestling, like the Cheenies, like Ice T Curtis, like certainly the Stepdads, and many others. Mark the Shark and Zach Ruby, and a bunch of other people out there have been huge parts of Matt Pro Wrestling. So if you're out there, do me a favor. Hit the sub button for Matt Pro Wrestling, and I would appreciate that, as well as the incumbent right now, the man that sits on top of the throne as the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion, Radley Belmont. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce here, your voice, figuratively and literally, with all music, all sports, no wrestling matters. I want to plug March 1st, and we have the chat here, and people want to talk to you.
I do want to mention this before we move on. I do want to mention if we're going to leave the Matt Pro setting.
Yes.
First of all, I understand the whole it's a prop kind of thing. We're fighting for the prop. We're fighting for this. If you want to call it a prop, I'd say a Batmobile is a prop too. And guess what? Everyone wishes they had one. And it's really
cool. I do remember as a kid getting the Batmobile. I did, my brother had the Batmobile.
And it mattered when you got that Batmobile at Christmas. So it's not just a prop. It means something, just like that Batmobile meant something when you were a kid. But I've always said, it's not just about winning a title, winning a championship. No professional wrestler should just be happy to be the champion, because then what are you fighting for anymore? You're gonna like losing your second defense. You have no motivation anymore. Every champion needs to chase the ghosts of the past. And my goal is 1,000% not just to be the greatest Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion, but to hold this title for at least 365 days. I want to go from one calendar year, one full year. That's the goal. And I'm just a few months away. I'm like 2 shows away from doing that.
Yeah, you're right there. Listen,
whatever it is,
you're on the other side of that number. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, there. I don't even want to think. I don't even want to think about the date. I don't want to think about any of that. I'm just because the closer it gets, the more nervous you're gonna get and that kind of stuff. I'm thinking about it like we're just going full steam ahead. Every show matters to get to that goal of 1 year. And then once I get to 1 year, I don't know, maybe the next goal is 2 years. I'm always going to have another goal. Most title defenses, I already got that. I've defended in 5 different companies. I already got that. If I can get to 6, we'll keep going. Like, we got to keep this train rolling.
I don't see why not. I mean, listen, we're going to talk about
Absolutely.
one company that you defended the title in a little while, and I
Yeah.
do want to point out one more time. If you are out there and I see you here in the chat, hit the sub button for Matt Pro Wrestling. There are 279 subs. I like to get them to 280 tonight. So you know the deal. You know the drill. Hit the sub button for Matt Pro Wrestling. It's free. It costs nothing. All you have to do is hit the sub button. So usually, if you're here in this chat, you know the drill. You usually get your channels plugged or anybody else's. So hit the sub button for Matt Pro Wrestling, and we really appreciate that very much, and especially the champion would. I did want to promote something that you are a part of that I think that people should know about, because obviously you'll be a far better host than yours truly would ever be, because I stumble over the words. Listen, I stumble over the words half the time, but you certainly won't, because you have a show coming up, which I'm very excited about. I have the poster here on Instagram for, and there it is. You're going to talk about some wrestling history, and you've got a bunch in the can, and talk to me about what can we expect, and just why everybody should tune in, especially because you have a way better voice than I, and Rick does, who's in the chat also. But talk to me about Rad Dad Wrestling history.
We'll see. Maybe I got a different type of radio voice. We'll see what voice I end up using. So I used a couple different other ones. We'll see what people like. But
Okay.
yeah, when I was in college, my major was media journalism. I wanted to be in media journalism, and a big part of trying to prove that.
You remember you telling us about that? Yep.
Yeah, was to make videos about, at the time, backyard wrestling, and not just the history of backyard wrestling, but news that was coming out on a weekly basis. And I had a weekly news show that got thousands of views every week, and we're talking 2008, 2009 on YouTube. People still bring it up to this day, and I haven't made that show in well over 10 years. But I still have that media journalism bug. I still have that itch to, just do something in media. And unfortunately, I was almost hired by CBS News.
Yeah, I remember the story.
All that went down, and they didn't hire me because they, ran out of money. But anyway, that all comes back to last winter. I just really wanted to do something. I want a passion project again, and this became that passion project. I literally started from scratch. I started watching other people to figure out how they do their history shows and stuff. I've always loved video essays, so that part has always been in the back of my mind. But I didn't want to do a long form 45-minute video essay every 6 months like these people do, although they're great. It's just not what I want to do. I want to do something that people can rely on to tune in, and not just see me, it's Rad Dad again, but to learn something that they wouldn't have known otherwise. And some stories don't have a lot of backstory to them. It's 90 seconds, 60-second story of, did you know about this? And that's kind of where Rad Dad Wrestling history came from. So I've been working on this project since December. I have over 24 episodes already completed. They are in the can. They are good to go. And I'm just waiting for the right moment, because I want to have enough footage ahead of time. A big part of Backyard Wrestling Weekly was the fact that I would get sick. I would travel. I would wrestle around the country. And because of that, I wouldn't have a lot of time to edit. And I would kind of fall apart and fall backwards. And I would miss stuff. And there'd be weeks and weeks of gaps and things. And I felt really bad about that. I never wanted that to happen again. So I'm filming as much footage as I can, as many episodes as I can, in order to have this cushion of production already made. So people will have 2 episodes of Rad Dad Wrestling history every single week for the foreseeable future. This is a real thing. Every week, 2 episodes. I'm still trying to figure out exactly which days. It might be like a Monday and a Thursday is kind of what I'm going with right now. But
yeah, I think what I think you should do it. I would say some combination of a Monday, Thursday, or like a Tuesday, Thursday. I think those are the best days.
Mm-hmm.
I would observe, I think, are like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, sometimes Friday. I could throw Friday in there. I think those are like, just for whatever reason, those days I find. So, I would, that's what, but again, better than a lot of us, but those are good days I always find.
I've been looking at a lot of the analytics and stuff since November. Actually, I went from the Stepdads media was mainly focused on Facebook and on X for GTS related stuff back in the day, and then everything else was kind of copied onto Instagram and on this stuff. And since November, I've kind of turned Instagram into the Stepdads hub. So I'm sure if people have been paying attention, I'm not saying you have to, but if you have, you've noticed that there's been a humongous spike in audience and followers in the Stepdads Instagram page. We've gotten somewhere around, I think it's like 1,600 new followers in the last 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah, I did notice your follower count went up. I did notice it.
And a lot of that has been just from posting the right stuff, contacting the right fan base, kind of grabbing from the existing fan bases that we've already made through GTS and other places like that. And it's been working wonders. It's been working wonders. A lot of the posts we've been making, a couple of them have gotten thousands of likes, and these are just in the last few weeks. So hopefully when we get to 10K, and I do think we'll get to 10K by the end of the month, that would be the time to launch this series. And I really hope people like it. These are always fun facts that I usually bring up at like after shows and parties, or everyone goes to an Applebee's and I'm like, did you know about this random thing that happened in WCW? Did you know about this belt there's this random belt that nobody knows existed in the 80s? Like, and people are always like, you know so much, man. Like, well, we never really knew what to do with that. I'm just a fountain of information for no reason. And so this is my outlet to do that now, to show more people, hey, did you know about this random thing? And it's going to be a lot of fun. I've already asked some of my friends around the country to film their own episodes and send them in. So we're going to have guest stars.
I did see the Facebook post for that. I did see you posted on Facebook about like a month and a half ago, like about that. I did see that.
I've had a couple of people be like, are you still doing this? Because I haven't seen anything. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it. You want to send me a video? And they do. So I've already gotten a good handful of those videos. We're going to have outtake episodes because Bryce, I'm telling you, I mess up just as much as you, brother.
We're
going to have outtake episodes. We're going to have fact or fiction episodes, which I'm also really excited about because those are fun to throw out, like, just random factoids about wrestling that have no backstory, really. And if you like wrestling and you're not, it's not going to be like, who main evented WrestleMania 26? I'm looking for pure silly stuff that's still in the mainstream wrestling sphere. We're not going to go into the deep endings too much unless it's related to something in the mainstream. We're looking for like really obscure, like, times WWE titles were defended on the indies. We're looking at weird belts that existed for a couple of months here and there. We're looking at fun stuff.
No, that's exciting. I mean, I think that, listen, people will definitely want to tune in. Thank you, Ox McCoy, for subbing to Matt Pro Wrestling. They have 280 now. Thank you, Ox. Ox, you're the best, Ox. And if you want to follow the Stepdads and get them monetized, I would like to point out, you should do a video with Gabe so you can get the 10,000 followers, because Gabe is now blown up on Instagram. You know that, right? He is like become like, I mean, he's like a lightning rod now. I mean, it's a video on white people's food, which I didn't even know existed. I mean, he joked about this when he was here with me. I was like, Gabe, I mean, I'm white. I didn't even know these foods existed. But he's become like a celebrity on Instagram. So you do a video with Gabe and you'll get probably 9,000 followers alone from that. But
maybe he can tell me about like obscure wrestling food, or he can tell me about the WWF cookbook or something.
He might. I mean, Gabe could probably do it if there's anybody that could. And there's Rad Dad's Instagram page. We'll give him something in a little while for that. So yes, definitely excited about the show. I look forward to watching that. Now, will that be on your YouTube channel, which I had just put up as well?
So it's going to be on all of the social medias.
Okay.
I'm talking X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
Okay.
Later on, it'll be on YouTube in
Okay.
compilation form because they're
Okay.
only, like I said, I want them to be quick bites for the wrestling fan, 60 seconds to 90 seconds. You'll never see anything. Really, you'll never see anything longer. If there is, it's important, but I don't think there is
Okay.
any right now.
That's
Uh,
great.
yeah, quick bites, and then they will be compiled on YouTube one day, and that'll probably be the one everyone sees like 20 years from now. But for now, I think having the weekly series is not just really fun for me, and I will wear this shirt in every video. Every single video I make will have this shirt, which is why I'm wearing it
Well,
tonight.
I gotta bring that up because if she's still here. My friend Maria asked me because I always wear the jacket when the weather's colder. She said, "Is that your uniform?" And I said, "No, I put it on because before, like years ago, I would go do it in like a t-shirt or like some like goofy looking jacket. I've had this jacket. It's a jacket. It was expensive when I bought it. I figured it looks like a good coat, and I just that's kind of my thing. It's not my official attire. Like we don't remember when the WWF had the jackets. Remember the WWF
Oh
jacket?
yeah,
The sport
love that
jacket.
stuff.
WCW had them, but I don't have that. I mean,
Vince with the Raw's War shirt.
Yes, that's it. I
jacket,
I would
yeah.
love to get one of those. I mean, but maybe we'll have to figure that out. But no, I think it's great. I'm excited about it. I hope everybody should be also. Let's get to some people in the chat because I want to talk about TF Crew and I want to talk about ISPW. We are here with the one and only, the legendary Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion and the GBYWN World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Rad Dad Radley Belmont. The champ is here. Zilla's here first. Thank you, Zilla, for being here. Hashtag All Wrestling Matters. I appreciate you very much. There is Maria and a man that was here Thursday and has still put out a challenge towards you. And he celebrated a birthday. Mr. Sean Jovi wanted to say hi. He has some more comments. Thank you very much, Hillbilly Tilly, who did share our on X. I thanked him earlier. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. You're too kind. Hello to the lovely Maria. He was here earlier. My new friend Bam Allen from our friends in the great state of West Virginia wanted to say that he was here. Wanted to say hello. Thank you, Bam. Speaking of people that you'll be seeing coming up next Sunday, Mr. Castor himself, who's in quite the match, and he'll be involved with that guy you definitely know named Nunzio. I'll talk about that on the other side of the show. By the way, I got to bring up, I'm very excited about the show also because I'm a sponsor of the show. I'm one of the sponsors, so I'm very excited about it. Yeah, it's probably why you came. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, it was a joke. It was a joke. But maybe you might be right. But nevertheless, hello to my friend Isaiah Rage, who's definitely back out there in action. Who's feeling the rage. Hopefully, you warm things up for us here in the Northeast because I saw somebody today and I said, "Oh, how are you doing?" And he said maybe it'll warm up in July. So hopefully, we warm up sooner than that. There is Rick Del Santo. Rick is also a sponsor of the show with the Pro Wrestling Wire. He will be out there for Rick, obviously Pure Vanguard, and Rick has definitely been here a lot on Sportswire. So I want to give Rick a nice little plug because Rick has a way better voice than I do, and Rick is way more professional when he talks on his channel. Although he recently interviewed Angel Santiago, a man you have no love for, Mr. Gabe says. I'll get to those guys in about 5 or 10 minutes. But Rick has a YouTube channel, and he gave me a nice little plug with Uncle Otis. So shout out to Rick. And if you can, go out there and hit the sub button for Rick and his YouTube channel. Got some great content, a lot of old wrestling content he's had there also. So Rick's had a lot of legends out there in the wrestling world. And NWA especially I've seen recently. I was in the chat for that. So check him out. And he has a show tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern time. So if you're not watching the Super Bowl, go to Rick's YouTube channel. So there you go. Thank you, Rick. We'll get to some more comments. I have a bunch of them here out there. I do want to say hello to Camo Cam, who does some stuff with the IMF, does the predictions. Thank you, Camo Cam. Hit the sub button for Rad Dad on his YouTube channel. We appreciate him very much. Hello to a man you know very well, Mr. Austin James, who had a run in a place you were once upon a time. My good buddy Austin James, who's back out there in the ring next weekend, and will be on here eventually in the next few weeks. Yes. There's the DBW Global Champion. Thank you, Ox McCoy. Thank you, Copper Dragon. We read your comment earlier. Hello there. And there's Mr. Jovi's contentious comment to some extent. Rad Dad is my stepdad for life. Even more than that, he's a great friend. Love you, Rad. Now accept my challenge.
Accept my challenge. I accept all challengers. It's just a matter of the when and the where, Jovi.
Yeah.
You tell me, did Jovi go behind the scenes and tell you, oh, we need to do this play? Oh, I have a place I talked to this guy. I'm sure he's talked to a bunch of guys. but we need a
No.
location and we need a place. And if it happens, and I'm not saying if, I'm saying when. When it happens, Jovi, I'll be very happy to put the most prestigious prize of our generation on the line against you. Defended in 3 countries, recognized in 4, because Australia recognized us.
Yep. Yes.
And you think of all the names connected to this title, I'd be so happy to have your name connected as a challenger for this title, because I would love to beat you and put you on my list, a notch on my belt, if you will, because I think you deserve it.
I would definitely second on all of that, and we'll have to see what Mr. Jovi will say toward that. Well-stated comments. Yes, hello to Copper Dragon. Hit the sub button for Matt Pro Wrestling if you have a chance. We'd appreciate that very much. Thank you, Ox, again. And Rick will tune in, and he will also be there in attendance next Sunday. So Rick is looking forward to the show, and the Milford Mall is one I do know very well, so please check that out. Also, follow Rad Dad and Papa Bear on Instagram. Stepdad. There's also Facebook closing in. By the way, Facebook closing in on 20,000 followers. I know it's, but we're 18,000 plus. I've got to point that out there. 18,000. That's a lot of people. So that's a big accomplishment. So
absolutely
great stuff there. And also hello to the man. I was watching his chat earlier, Mr. Michael Christian, and said he was in a long stream. He was talking wrestling history earlier. He was talking about some of his favorite WWF theme songs, which is a fun show. I was listening to that for a little while, and he loves your shirt. Yes, he loves your shirt. I have his YouTube channel up. We'll give him a little plug. He's a nice guy. He said very nice words about me on his chat. He didn't have to. They must have paid him to do that, but he does have a YouTube channel. He got another sub earlier in his stream. So if you have a chance, you'd like some other content, it's called Snacks and Suplexes, and he's definitely a very nice guy. He's done a little bit of wrestling out there in the backyard in the past. So if you have a chance, you'd like to give him a sub, find out what he has to offer, I would definitely recommend that. And he also compliments your belts, which are beautiful, and you have a beautiful belt, no question about that. And he works on the snacks, and he's definitely working a lot less on the suplexes. I'm kidding. And definitely also follow Rick on his YouTube page. And we are very excited about all that stuff. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. And I know I want to talk about the TF crew in a second, but I want to share my screen. I have a couple of things I want to do. But let me give you the first share my screen, because that is one that's for you personally. So let me do that, even though I should really wait until you hit the magic number, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm putting you in the Hall of Fame for reaching 9,000 Instagram followers. I was going to do it for 10, but I feel like you're going to hit 10,000 probably tomorrow. I mean, I could always change it if you hit 10,000 tomorrow, but we're putting you in because I think the last appearance you were here, you were at like 6,500 or 6,800. Yes. So now you're at 9,400 and change. So you'll probably hit 10,000 by tomorrow. So I may have to rectify that, but nevertheless, we'll give you this. So congratulations. And, we'll definitely let you get the physical copy when we're off.
Absolutely.
So thank you for what you do, and thank you for your Instagram growth. There's some other content on there which you should definitely recommend, and we look forward to talking about more of that. So let's get into it, because I have the match, I have the footage up, which I want to get to shortly. So you have a big match coming up, and before we get there, we want to talk about that Matt Pro Wrestling Championship in a way, because one of those places you most recently defended it was at the TF Crew, where I am a sponsor. Once again, I was a sponsor for the last show. I'm a sponsor for this show. Very excited about that. And I have to talk about your match because you wrestled one man who you have a long history with in there, in Jimmy Controversy, who I speak with every now and then, said he was going to return on Sportzwire, maybe after those chants he gave about laryngitis. Well, after the laryngitis chats, maybe he has laryngitis and is not coming on until after the 15th. Then there was a guy, Leonidas. I'll get to him. And then another guy that's kind of really made a name here on the scene the last few weeks is Mark the Shark. And I should break it here that after what we see at Milford Mania, Mark the Shark is coming back to Sportzwire Radio. In fact, he's coming back in 2 weeks from Tuesday. He's decided that it's going to be Shark Week. He was I want to let you know, He was very upset about the Cheenies on Sportswire on this Saturday afternoon. He was very mad about that. First of all, he was upset that they got into the Hall of Fame before he did. He is still upset about the fact that he didn't get the chance to join the Cheenies, and he was upset about a number of things. So he's going to make that clear. He's going to air his grievances out. He's going to, in a shark-like mood, it'll definitely be unleashed out of the Shark Tank in 2 weeks from Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern time. And he was very ferocious like a shark. And he was circling me on Instagram and Messenger saying that he's going to come and he's going to, do what they did in Jaws, if I don't let him back on. So he'll be on here on February 24th with the fallout from what we see at Milford Mania 2026. But before we get to your match, and I think this is the biggest match of your career, I want to safely say that, but I have to show your most recent match and talk about that, which will kind of set the tables for us and what we can expect. So I'm going to put that up here now. I'm going to share my screen. And by the way, heck of a job by the TF crew to get this up because, usually TF crew does not really get these matches up as quick as they do, but they did that. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm a sponsor. Maybe it's because, we have a lot to talk about on Sportswire with the TF crew, but let's get into it. And I have the matchup. We'll put the new TF crew YouTube link up shortly, but here we are, and we're there, and we're in the Lincoln room, and there he is. Listen, the man that's going to be here and speak too soon, and that's Mark the Shark.
You know what? I bet if he won the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand title that night, he would be in the Hall of Fame right now. I bet you. And not the Cheenies. But either way, no. That's the most Mark the Shark thing I've heard in a long time.
He would have been in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he would have been in the Hall of Fame. I'm going to pretty much.
But no, yeah, Mark the Shark, a lot of people don't know.
Listen, you're not wrong.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know Mark the Shark, veteran from something like 10 years ago or something, just came back onto the scene. And let me tell you, the guy.
Yes, we spoke about that here. Absolutely.
He's absolutely exploding right now. And he's all over the New Jersey scene and now in the Connecticut scene. It's wild. And he just joined Matt Pro 2 days before this match. The night I wrestled Papa Bear for the Matt Pro title. I believe did he make his debut or it might have been his second match there. But either way, he made a big splash that night. And the fans honestly loved him. And it led to him getting in this title shot, which is hilarious because the Matt Pro Wrestling title, mostly in New Jersey. Got a couple of New Jersey guys in Connecticut wrestling for the gold. But Leonidas is a TF crew faithful as well. It's such a great mix of people, and that's what I love about it. These companies working together. When I wrestled Jack Martins at Pro Wrestling Magic, Jack was a part of the Pro Wrestling Magic crew for a minute there. It's just a great little synergy we have, and this is my second match defending this title. My second title defense in 48 hours. And I have to be in the ring with Jimmy Controversy.
Yes, we talked about that. Yep.
And of course, Jimmy.
Well, man, you have quite a history with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he's like the mascot of Angel Santiago. He's like the booster to his Turbo Man or something. Like I don't know what we're doing with this, but Jimmy's with Santiago's group, and that's why I went out of my way. I wanted to pin.
He's got Jimmy the ladies even. Who knew? And who knew Jimmy was a ladies' man? Jimmy's got the ladies behind him now. I mean, Jimmy's, he's got us. Who knew? Who knew Jimmy was the hype man? That I never knew this. I thought I knew him. I guess I know.
He's a lady man. Okay, he got one lady in like however old he is. It took 20 years. Like a broken clock is right twice a day. I'm wondering maybe she's blind. Or I don't know.
Don't do
but that. No, she's a lovely lady. No. She's a lovely lady. I've said hi to her a few times. She's very, very nice. Maybe nice. Maybe she'll change Jimmy. That's what it is. She's like, I'm gonna change him. That's what it is. She's one of those I'm gonna change him types. I think that's what it is. We'll see what happens. But now, yeah, he's a lady man. He's done it. He figured it out, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, this is also his first shot at the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand title, and I can't imagine Matt Pro Wrestling being represented by Jimmy Controversy. That's the last thing anybody wants. But you know, challenger's challenger. Leonidas here. Leonidas was in my very first TF Crew match, going on year and a half now, something like that. So to have this sort of rematch, because the first time was a triple threat, this is a 4-way. It's just a nice crossing of two careers to see where everyone stands at this point. And I'm very happy to be able to say I've grown so much as a competitor. I'm walking in with a championship belt, and I think he's growing as well, which is great. And then, of course, we got Mark the Shark himself. What can we say that has not been said? You know,
I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest with you, Mark the Shark. And I know the Cheenies wouldn't like me saying this, but he has become, in the last like month of like my recent guest and ones I've had on that for the first time, he's definitely become like a guy that I'd like to see on more often. I mean, I know you're wrestling him in this match, but this guy, I mean, he's a shark first of all, but he's definitely got something about him. And you know, we spoke about this match when he was here because I had him on before it, and you know Leonidas very well. I got that. Jimmy, we spoke with you about wrestling Jimmy in the past for when you were the GTS Intercontinental Champion. But how do you prepare for a match where you've got two guys you know extremely well, but a guy Mark the Shark that you have not really have any real ring experience with compared to, let's say, a Leo or certainly Jimmy effing Controversy?
The crazy part is Mark the Shark wasn't even wrestling when I won the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand title. Mark the Shark was in the crowd watching me win the title. He was not a member of the staff. He wasn't filming. He was in the crowd watching, regaining his passion for wrestling and wanting to come back. He was also in the crowd the night I wrestled Jimmy Controversy at Brewery Brawl and won the Intercontinental Championship.
That was a big crowd. That was a hot crowd that was.
Mark the Shark was right in the front, and I didn't know who he was. I saw the footage later. I was like, oh, that is Mark the Shark. There he is. I think I even high-fived him or something like that. Didn't know. So it's really crazy. You never know who's in the front row. You never know who you're going to run into. Literally 6 months later, you're wrestling a guy you saw in the front row of a crowd who had no aspirations to come back to wrestling. And then he did. That's the beauty of wrestling, in my opinion. People come and go.
I think it's a really interesting story. We spoke a little bit about it when he was here several weeks back on Sportswire. And, it's one of those stories that I had a musician on who, was big once upon a time and kind of left the scene. And we were talking about his comeback. And, Mark is along those lines. I mean, not to compare, I threw out the George Foreman comparison. Foreman's out for 10 years, comes back. And, Mark the Shark left wrestling for a substantial amount of time. And here he is, and he's in a match for the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Championship, a championship that we have talked about at length. And you defeated arguably the best independent wrestler that has never been in the WWE, AEW, or Impact Wrestling, and Darius Carter. That's the magnitude of this. And Mark the Shark, I mean, this guy, he's a shark out there, and you got to deal with all four of them, and you got only a 25% chance of retaining that championship, sir.
Oh, don't Scott Steiner math me now. But I will say, Mark the Shark, first guy to hit me, first guy to strike. Mark the Shark, the aggressor in this entire match. Jimmy doesn't really lay a hand on me, to be honest. I can kind of handle Jimmy. I figured out Jimmy Controversy. But Mark the Shark was an unknown. And I'd already talked to people like Mikey Midnight who'd wrestled him. I'd talked to, Ref Jeff who'd wrestled him, like a couple of guys. But he hasn't had a ton of matches yet. So it was a little bit of an unknown. And, I learned a lot about Mark the Shark. I think he's going to be a big star in the area. Like he could be a GTS legendary YouTube champion in just a couple of months. I could see him being a top champion in Titan Wrestling, where he's wrestling now.
Yes.
And And if I wasn't, at my top, at my peak right now, if I wasn't as good as I feel like I am right now, it could have been Mark the Shark walking away with the belt, and I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I think the crowd likes him. He doesn't really care whether he's liked or not, but sometimes the crowd's okay with that. They like a guy who says how he feels, and Mark the Shark's definitely one of those kind of guys, and his experience backs that up. Like I said, he had maybe 2 matches in Mat Pro before this, and it was enough for the promoters that were working with TF Crew and Mat Pro to say, yeah, this guy, he should be a contender.
Oh, he's a contender right now. Leonidas is definitely a contender for I'm falling and I can't get up. Remember the old thing? I'm falling and I can't get up. And there you are. You've talked about the suicide dive and you've used it here and
real.
you used it in Mat Pro. And yeah, I mean, you definitely have come out swinging and you've definitely got your opponents out there on the outside. And then there's that guy that you have such a long standing history with in Mr. Controversy, and you're going up to the high rent district, and there you are. But there's Mark the Shark, like a shark. And
I just want to hit the elbow drop, man. Come on.
Well, it ain't gonna happen that easy. And there comes Mark the Shark, like a shark circling, and he goes and takes out Jimmy Controversy, and there's Leonidas, who obviously I had said when Mark was here, I thought he was the most intriguing person of the match because of what I think he had to gain here. Jimmy, we know his name and his history. Mark the Shark certainly has quite an aura about him. He's making a comeback. You're the incumbent, but then there's Leonidas, who, I think a lot of people felt is a wild card here in this match because he's kind of a guy that could maybe slide in here and take your championship. And then here's the moment, which I thought was one of my favorite moment of the match, by the way, which that kind of like, it was the shark move. And then you kind of come back here. I thought that was my favorite move of the match. Just pointing that out.
I'm reaching for those ropes and it's right here. When I get pulled back, I'm like, that's more than one guy pulling me back. So there's definitely some people behind me. I can't see.
Can I just say, Gabe, can we take – I got to throw this out to Gabe. Gabe, if you're doing a short on the TF Crew YouTube page, TF Crew TV, you got to make that a short. That has to be a short because I think that'll just blow up. Gabe knows how to go viral, and that should be one there that should.
I mean, I'll do it if I have to. I got Instagram bumping now, so might as well.
Well, good point. Duly noted. But there it was.
I would not be surprised if, 2 years down the line or whatever the case may be, it might be Mark the Shark's time to be a top champion. Maybe at TF Crew, maybe at Mat Pro, either way. But it'll probably be wrestling me because I'm going to have both belts. That's the whole goal here. I want the TF Crew title, the YouTube title. I've never held it. I've gotten the Mat Pro title, GBYWN World title, GTS Legendary YouTube title. I've really climbed these mountains in a way that I don't even know I thought I could back in the day. Oh, here we go. I'm just shooting for the fences here. You know what I'm saying? I'm going right at him. But having that aggression and that focus, it helps a lot, let me tell you. And this kid, he's going to get better. That's the scary part is I can't breathe. When I get a title match, it's like, all right, that worked, but next time he's going to be better. Next time somebody has seen this footage and my next challenger is going to be better because they've seen my tricks. It's just gonna
yeah. And you know what? That could be that could be Mark the Shark because you mentioned him and he's in Mat Pro Wrestling. That's the guy that is obviously works in the same company that you are, and obviously that's something to keep an eye on. But here we are in the match, and there is Mark. His power. I got to tell you, his power. I think he's one of the most powerful guys out there. Yeah, this guy. I mean,
most devastating lariats on the Indies.
It's the most devastating lariats. Period. I mean,
there we go. I'm pinning Jimmy.
Yeah, you come out here in a match that I mean, it was a match that. I mean, you certainly had your moments, but it was definitely, all out of nowhere. You once again pinned Jimmy Controversy. There you go.
Oh, I will tell you this. This is a little behind the scenes here. I'm wearing a right elbow pad. I almost never wear a compression pad like that. That's from elbow dropping Wade so hard that I kind of jammed my elbow. So I had to wear a pad just to, or impression,
that
just to
was
make sure I'm good.
the spot. Yes, I stepped. Was the spot now? I can picture the spot right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I was ready and
Yeah, no,
willing
I can see
to.
that, and obviously there you are. But this match is
Yeah.
not over yet, technically.
I was ready and willing to do the elbow drop again. I think I got a really devastating elbow drop. Might be a finisher one day if I focus more on the chest during the matches. We'll see. But yeah, Leonidas.
So
This kid's got to learn.
what happens there? You got to talk to me about that.
No respect, man. You should have asked Ice-T. The first time I was ever in the ring with Ice-T, I spanked him because he never respect, man. He was young in the game, and he needed to understand.
You know what?
Like,
Ice-T was in a good mood. No, we didn't want to do that. No, yeah.
I think you get humiliated like that in front of a crowd. It's gonna humble you, and it's gonna make you better. It's gonna humble you and make you. They're supposed to, at least. And look, I'll do it again. He's still talking trash. Like, it's like, you lost, dude. Don't blame others. Don't blame anyone but yourself. Go home. Go back to the school. Train. Get better. Be better tomorrow than you were today. And he just whines and complains. And then even the referee laughs. So what does he do? He boots the referee who works for Pure Vanguard. So he's probably never going to work at Pure Vanguard, I guess. I'll tell you that right now.
Wow. Yeah, that's going to leave a mark.
So I am going to assume that this is the last Matt Pro Wrestling Grand title shot for Leonidas for quite a while.
Yeah, I don't know about that. And obviously our condolences there to the referee. And that is that. And if you are
that. No, I think about it.
Well, you know what? Well, it's interesting. You're the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion. You had a Pure Vanguard Wrestling referee, and you were wrestling in a TF Crew ring. But talk about that. Breaking the fourth wall, right?
Against GTS wrestlers as well. So it's just a little everybody. And
it almost reminds me of you were a wrestling historian before. I want to come back to TF Crew. It reminds me of that time when Taz was wrestling Mike Awesome, who was the then ECW champion, who had signed to WCW, and Taz was then a WWF wrestler, and they wrestled in an ECW ring, and you were the Met Pro Wrestling champion, defending it in a TF Crew ring, and you were wrestling GTS wrestlers. You were wrestling also with a Pure Vanguard Wrestling referee, and and just it broke all those different barriers. So that's kind of how that went down. So if you are there, hit the sub button for the TF Crew. That's where you can watch some content, TF Crew TV. And after that victory, absolutely, listen, in an amazing moment, no question that you were highly successful. But now I want to talk about that match because I know you've had big matches before. I get that. But now you've got this match that I happen to think is the biggest match of your career because you're wrestling a guy that, only seen him in, Impact Wrestling, and a guy that's made quite a name for himself, and that is Mr. Ace Romero. And you've got a lot on the line. You talked about that TF Crew YouTube Championship. You talked about that. We know your feud with Angel Santiago over the past year and change, but I don't know what your strategy is. I expect you not to fully tell us that between now and next Sunday, but regardless, champ, in my humble opinion, this is the biggest match of your career next Sunday against the one and only Ace Romero.
I couldn't agree more. I believe this is the biggest match of my professional wrestling career. We're talking about a man who is TNA Impact alumni, AEW alumni. Maybe people don't know. He's a former Limitless Wrestling World Champion. And I say world because it is a globally defended title. He was the world champion of Limitless Wrestling. And now he's coming to TF Crew to become the number one contender to the TF Crew World YouTube title. And only one man can be that number one contender. This is it's new territory for TF Crew. We saw Cheeseburger fight for the title at the last show. Now Ace Romero's coming in. These stars, these top indie stars, these television stars are coming into TF Crew. They want the gold. It shows how much TF Crew has risen as a promotion. And I really have everything laid out for me here, you know. I can't tell you my strategy, obviously. Everyone who knows Ace Romero has seen him. I've seen him many, many years. I've seen countless Ace Romero matches, but I've never been in the ring with him. So what is it that I bring to the table that I can say that I'm worthy of getting this win? And ever since I heard about this match, I've really been thinking about it. But to be honest, it came to me immediately. And it is the fact that for Ace Romero, this is a match on a Sunday. And for me, this is the biggest moment of my career. You know, Tom, I think I brought this up before in the past. In June of 2006, my grandfather passed away. And my family went to his house to collect everything. And we never got a single email or call. He didn't have any living relatives other than an aunt who passed away 2 weeks later. We got one letter in the mail from somebody we did not know from across the country, and that's the only thing we ever got. He was a boxer and a bull rider who was pronounced dead 4 times before he was 21. And when he died at 76, it was like nobody knew who he was or that he existed at all. And this is 2006. I was 18. I had just gotten out of high school, and all I cared about was pretty much wrestling, video games, and pizza. I didn't think about things like that. But when I went to my grandfather's house and I saw that it felt like this brilliant man practically didn't exist, it completely changed my life to dedicate so much of it to being remembered and doing something memorable and reaching out to the world around me. And, you know, it's been a long time since then. I had many different options I went through in my life, but I really believe that the option that has made the most sense, has become the most natural to me, is professional wrestling. And I'm happy to say that, you know, on all these social media sites, you know, 9,000, 10,000 followers, on Facebook, nearly 20,000 followers. Those are just numbers. The thing that matters most is the comments saying, you know, we love you, Rad Dad, or this was a funny moment in your match, Rad Dad. This is awesome, Rad Dad. I can't wait to see your next match, Rad Dad. Like, I think those type of moments are what I've been looking for since 2006. I want to be remembered. I want to be a part of something bigger than myself. And I get that through professional wrestling. And so we come to this show February 15th, where I will be wrestling Ace Romero. And this is my opportunity at being remembered for doing something that so few people have been able to do. I've wrestled a lot of independent professional wrestlers, but few and far between do they get to say that they have defeated a former world champion, that they've defeated a former AEW alumni, a former TNA Impact alumni. Those guys are great. You know, they're on TV for a reason. They were world champions for a reason, and they don't lose very often. And so walking into that mall on February 15th, I need to win. I need to be remembered. It is deep in my soul. And this is one of those ways to do that. This is one of those moments where, 10, 20 years from now, we'll say, wow, you were in the ring with the Rock and Roll Express. Wow, you were in the ring with Hornswoggle. And holy cow, Rad Dad, you defeated Ace Romero. And you went on to defeat Angel Santiago for the TF Crew World YouTube Championship.
Well, we don't know if it's going to be Angel Santiago still. I mean, obviously we've got him and Aaron Rourke, but you brought up Ace Romero, and that's obviously quite the name. I'm listening to you talk, and it was emotional. It was definitely cathartic, and it was, definitely a journey that we just went on there with you, champ. But you go out, and how is this going to be different or similar when you beat, let's say, somebody recently like a Darius Carter? Talk to me about that. That was a moment where you were an underdog. You were clear when going into that tournament. You were a clear underdog. He took you lightly, to put it very blunt. Ace Romero is a different animal, figuratively and literally, in terms of what he brings to the table and in his abilities. I mean, the man is larger than life. And I'm curious, in how do you think your approach will be different going into Ace Romero's match when you defeated Darius Carter for that Mad Pro Wrestling Grand Championship?
Well, that answer is really twofold. Before I get to Darius, just keep in mind, Ace Romero is a big guy. He's fast.
Very big.
He's got a lot of experience. A guy I defeated who is pretty much like that. His name's Papa Bear Wade Kruger. So that recent match, I think, is definitely going to help. But, we're talking about the level of a Darius Carter. When I wrestled him, I had already wrestled over 20 minutes before his music even hit. And when he came out, I was treading in very, very deep waters. I didn't know what was next. I didn't know what to do other than to survive and to continue to get up. And Darius's problem is that he didn't want to just pin me. He wanted to break me. And my strategy was to constantly, always get back up. And one time, it just took one time, one roll up, one schoolboy, and a 3 count. I didn't even have to get up. I just had to drag him down. I learned a lot that day. I learned a lot about high pressure situations. I learned a lot about treading in deep water. I learned a lot about how wrestlers who are above me in the pecking order underestimate me. I learned a lot. And the Rad Dad Radley Belmont that's going to walk in to the Milford Mall is a very different wrestler than the one that walked in and won the Mat Pro Wrestling Grand Champion. I am better. I am more experienced. And I'm ready for anything. So I hope people come. I hope every single wrestling fan in the Milford, Connecticut area comes to this show. Because what they're going to see is very special. What they're going to see is heart, is passion, and they're going to see the future of professional wrestling. I'm very excited to show them what I can bring to the table. And when I make a moment, I want every single person to be there to say that they were there to see Rad Dad Radley Belmont defeat Ace Romero.
And it's the biggest crowd it's going to be in the TF Cruise history. And it's going to be one of the biggest independent wrestling shows in recent memory in the state of Connecticut. We know the names. Cheeseburger, he's in action against your old friend Doc Holliday. You spoke about Angel Santiago. He's here Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time. I know you won't tune in, but he'll be talking about his match against that guy that everybody knows in the WWID program, and Aaron Rourke.
Tom, let me interrupt you real quick.
Yeah.
Because you said earlier, oh, Angel Santiago might not be the YouTube champion by the time it's all said and done.
No, he might not be. Might be Aaron Rourke.
In my mind, I'm more motivated when I think Angel Santiago is going to be my opponent.
Whoa.
That makes me way more excited. That makes me way more passionate to get this rematch. Because I want a rematch against Angel Santiago. I want to beat Angel Santiago. Not anyone else. Not any other challenger. Now, is he going to lose it?
Not a guy that has a WWE ID program on his resume? I'm confused.
I'm not saying he's going to win or lose. I'm saying in my heart, I'm motivated to fight Angel Santiago. And if it has to be my first title defense, so be it. But I'm motivated to beat Ace Romero to get to Angel Santiago. That's way more. That brings out way more passion in me than any other challenger. I don't just want to win the title. I want to win it from Angel Santiago. I hope you understand that. I think
I get that because of what happened between you and Angel. You know what? You had to tap out. I mean, you know what you went through the first time with Angel. I get that, but you obviously can't concentrate on his situation because he'll talk about that Monday. Now Monday he's going to be here and he's going to have plenty to say about that. He said on Rick Del Santo's show that every time he comes on Sportswire, he wins afterwards. So he has said, Tom Rice, I've been coming on his show for almost 3 years. He said, I've been coming on his show for almost 3 years now. And he said, every time I come on, I retain my championship. So he's going to talk about what he did to Cheeseburger. He's going to talk about what he's about to do to Aaron Rourke. And listen, his legacy, I mean, you may be more motivated, I guess, but it's up there. It's one of the greatest runs, and that's one thing. But you can't really focus or concentrate on what happens with him. You still got to beat Ace Romero, and you got to beat him in a huge environment. We know what's on the line for the Boys and Girls Club, the magnitude of that, helping out the community. And the amount of people that are on this card. Nunzio, a man you know very well, EBW, been a huge staple there. You've been an EBW. I mean, think about who's on this card. This isn't just a show where we get, one guy maybe doing a seminar or a meet and greet. No, you've got Cheeseburger, who we all know, right? We know about what he's done in Ring of Honor, Japan. He's on the card again against Doc Holliday, man, your old friend. You've got your match with Ace Romero. We all know him, Pro Wrestling Magic. He was a part of all those years ago. Yes. I remember, Steve Off. I know Steve Off very well. I remember when he was killing it there. He's going to be on the card. You've got Aaron Rourke. We spoke plenty about him. I mean, so think about the magnitude of the names on this card. And it's not just a seminar. It's not a seminar, meet and greet, or one name that was in the past, sign autographs. I just named people that looked them up and seen where they've been. Nunzio, a man that you could make the case for should be a WWE Hall of Famer. Stop. Absolutely. That's a man you could make a case for that should be in the WWE Hall of Fame. His run in ECW, his run in WWE, his run throughout the wrestling circuit, still continue to go out there. That's a guy, he's a very, very humble man. He's not going to make that case, but I'm going to do it for him. That's a guy that should be a WWE Hall of Famer. Full stop. Cheeseburger, a man that has trained countless people, Ring of Honor, Japan. Next.
Tokyo Dome.
Aaron Rourke, right? WWE ID program member. Next. And then your opponent, Ace Romero, the man that was week after week for well over a year, close to 2 years, was a part of the Impact Wrestling for a long period of time, was the number 2 wrestling company out there. And that's your opponent. Think about the magnitude of this card.
This is not just a show where, an old legend comes in and gets one big win and goes home. This is TF Crew proving that they belong on the level of the stars. They're not going in to get squashed. I'm not going in to get squashed. I personally don't want to see Ace Romero versus Aaron Rourke on the next show for the title. Now, if Aaron wins it, great. But I'm more motivated to show that we belong on that level. I'm going to prove that I'm on that level. Because if not now, then when? It has to be now. I don't know if I'll ever get an opportunity like this ever again. Maybe in Mat Pro, but not here in TF Crew if I lose this match. I need to win this match.
You need to win it. Yeah, you definitely need to win it because, listen, Ace Romero, opportunities against him, they don't come every day. They don't come every day, and you have been chasing this TF Crew YouTube championship now for the better part of a year and a half. And if you don't win next Sunday, I mean, listen, you've got some championships. You know, you've certainly accomplished a lot. You know, I'll talk about ISPW in a few minutes, but your days of maybe being a TF Crew YouTube championship contender, well, I got to be honest, they're numbered, and the door is going to be shut.
It's much bigger than that, Bryce. If I don't win this match, it's going to be the first major crack in my armor in quite a long time. Like I said, the tag team division has been a little shaky for Papa Bear and I. We just had that intense match. I think things are going to turn around. But if I don't win this match against Ace Romero, how am I going to walk into the next Mat Pro Wrestling Grand Championship match with 100% confidence? If I don't know for a fact that I'm as good as Ace Romero, that I'm on the level of Ace Romero, how do I know I'm as good as my next challenger at Mat Pro? I could lose this title anytime. I need to win this match in order to continue this roller coaster that's going up and up and up. And I know, just like every other champion in the history of all professional wrestling, the roller coaster goes down one day. But the legends, man, that roller coaster goes up for quite a long time. Quite a long time. And I want to keep going up. I want to keep going up as long as I possibly can. And the only way I can do that is if I pin Ace Romero's shoulders to the canvas. It's the only way. And that sounds like a crazy thing to say. 2 years ago, that would have been insane. And now that's all I think about, man. That's all I think about. It's got to be done.
Well, you're a wrestling historian. You were talking about earlier, we got this new show, Rad Dad's weekly wrestling history, all these, wrestling episodes you're going to put out there, 60 to 90 seconds. And to be honest, Ace Romero, he's a part of wrestling history.
Yes.
You go back and watch all that footage of Impact Wrestling, and that man is a part of episodes. And you don't want to do a future episode on your channel and have to talk about Ace Romero and then have almost a knot in your throat, or almost have to gulp at that thought that if you don't beat him next Sunday, and who knows when that time comes, and you're doing an episode and his name comes across for whatever reason, and that's going to make it awkward. You don't want that. You're going to have to beat him, especially now that you've put this show out and you're going to be doing this now for the foreseeable future. And I'm serious. I'm dead serious, because this is a man that's a part of history, a part of wrestling history. And your legacy, listen, we talked a lot, right, in the past with you and Angel back and forth about legacies, right? We talked about how the legacy for your career was going to mean something by beating Angel. Angel was here and basically said, what he's doing is cementing his own legacy, and he's just getting started. But you can look at whenever we close that chapter on your in-ring career. I don't know when that's going to be. I hope it's for a very long time. But you go out there, and at least in TF Crow's, that history, I think it's going to be sealed in the fact that you're not going to get to that mountain if you don't beat Ace Romero. And legacies we talk about all the time, and I don't know, looking back at your legacy, if it's going to be one that we can write on in the way you'd like it if you don't beat him next Sunday?
You know, there's two ways to build legacy, and that is to be the one that builds a record and be the one that destroys the record. I am too late right now to be the longest reigning TF Crew World YouTube Champion. Just like, nobody ever beat Goldberg's winning streak, right? But everyone remembers who broke Goldberg's winning streak. And I want to be the one I really want to be the one that breaks Angel Santiago's winning streak. And if it has to be Aaron Rourke, so be it. Because then I'll go on. I'll try to have 1,000 days.
But you know what? I could make the point that
I want to break that streak, man.
But you know what though? But I could make the point that beating Aaron Rourke could be bigger than Angel Santiago because of who his name is. So if you win, let's go with that. You win next Sunday and going up against Aaron Rourke, that might be bigger than beating Angel Santiago with as much respect that we have for Angel. He's here on Monday night. He's going to tell us why Aaron Rourke's a walk in the park. He's going to do that. But I could make the case for you in a span of, let's say, a year. Darius Carter, 1. Ace Romero, 2. Aaron Rourke, 3.
Well, let me put it this way. I think it's win-win either way. So it's double motivating for me to beat Ace Romero because I'm either beating Aaron Rourke, and I will if I have to, or I'm going to beat Angel, the man who just went back-to-back defeating Cheeseburger and Aaron Rourke. So it's kind of like I'm beating both of them as well. So either way, I'm taking on top-tier talent, and that's where the championship should be, and that's who the champion should be, top-tier talent. And I'm either going to be there or I don't want to even be near the title picture. And that's exactly where this promotion has put me. And that's exactly where I need to be. I'm at my best when I'm against the wall. This might be my very last opportunity to even sniff this championship. And I make no excuses. I said it earlier. I make absolutely no excuses. I got sick. I lost Angel Santiago. My body couldn't handle it that day. That day, he was the better man. I'll say it to every single person. I'll say it right to their face. He was the better man that day. But there's 364 other days in the year, and I think I'm better than every other one. I'm better than Angel Santiago every other day of the year. So if I get him in the ring one more time, I'm taking that belt. If I get Aaron Rourke in the ring, I'm taking that belt. I am taking that belt. That's what matters.
Well, I'll tell you what. It is a card that I am really, really pumped up for. And not just because I'm a sponsor for it, but because the amount of matches on here. This is one of the best wrestling cards in a long time you're going to see out there. And it takes place next Sunday at the Milford Post Mall. And you can go to the TF Crew Instagram page to buy a ticket. You should definitely do it. Bell time is for 5 o'clock, and you can check that out. And also, all the proceeds go to the Boys and Girls Club of Milford. Yours truly is a sponsor. Very proud to be a sponsor of that. Very proud to be supporting the show. And Rad Dad is a huge, we just spoke about 25 minutes at length talking about this with Ace Romero. And this is a reason why you should be following the TF Crew, going to the YouTube page of the TF Crew's TV where you can see some content from last month's show. And it's an amazing card. Cheeseburger and Doc Holliday. You've got, we spoke about Angel Santiago and Aaron Rourke. Angel Santiago is going to be here to talk about that on Monday night. You've got, again, that guy Nunzio, and he's a part of it, and he's going to be wrestling alongside Castor and Christopher Black, a guy that I'm really excited. Again, it's the Syndicate. I mean, you got Jeremy Lacroix. I mean, listen, Rick has been speaking about him at length for weeks. I just got a chance to watch him. Corey Duke and then Jimmy Controversy, your old nemesis. So it is quite a card, and that guy Nunzio is going to be a part. Just an amazing show. That's not the main event. The main event is the tag team championship match between the Cheenies and Gabe Sayers and Jeff Nova. That tells you how stacked of a card this is. That's the main event, ladies and gentlemen. That's the main event. I mean, this is arguably, listen, they call this Milford Mania. This is the WrestleMania right now of Connecticut. I am going to go on record. This is the WrestleMania of Connecticut because you've got Nunzio, you've got Cheeseburger, you've got Aaron Rourke, you've got Ace Romero, plus you've got Rad Dad, plus you've got Gabe Sayers, plus, yes, you've got Jimmy Controversy, Angel Santiago. I mean, you've got some of the very best, and that's not even more. There'll be more out there. I mean, there'll be many more names out there announced. So you need to go out there and buy a ticket. I want to say hello to my friend Ace Reed, not to be confused with Ace Romero. He wanted to say hello. Thank you very much, Ace. And before I get to ISPW and a few other things, I do want to do this because I need to share my screen, especially TF Crew related, because I'm inducting the show itself in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. So I'll make sure Gabe gets the physical copy of that because the magnitude of this show, and I'm really happy to be supporting this because of the fact it is going to the Boys and Girls Club. And I really think that we are using our abilities to support the community. We know you've been doing that with Matt Pro Wrestling, and TF Crew is doing that here also. I was speaking with the Cheenies, and they were talking about their work in Titan Championship Wrestling to help the animals and animal support and sanctuaries. And we're doing that here with the TF Crew when it comes to the Boys and Girls Club. I always support the TF Crew shows, as every one of them they've had that has been in a venue, I have donated a ticket or have been a sponsor, and I'm very proud to continue to do that here. So please support the TF Crew and join me. And I know you may not be here on Monday, but be here on Monday because Angel is going to probably have a Super Bowl championship-like celebration on Monday. He will certainly bring that energy. I have no doubt he'll do that. But before I get to a few final things, I got to talk about where you're going to be after February 15th. That's March 1st in ISPW, and spend a few minutes with me on it because I'm very excited about it, and I hope our audience will be also.
Oh, sorry, Bryce. I got so intense earlier and everything.
No, listen, it's Ace Romero. I mean,
Yeah.
we're expecting that intensity from you. I mean, Angel will be commenting on this. He'll have something to say about this on Monday. He will definitely make sure of it.
Absolutely. And I do love the fact that the main event is for the tag team championship. As a tag team wrestler myself,
I agree.
I think the tag team division is underrated. I consider tag team titles to be equal to the heavyweight championship in most promotions, if not all promotions. So I'm very happy that they are getting the opportunity to be the main event. And speaking of tag team matches and tag team titles, I'm very excited about ISPW because, as you see right there, I am more than excited to see the stepdads themselves, Rad Dad and Papa Bear, being the next ISPW tag team champions. And I know people are saying, oh, you're getting a little cocky there. You haven't really won them yet or anything. But I'm telling you, the last time we were at ISPW, we were the main event in a tag team match. ISPW knows what the stepdads bring to the table. And this is our third match for the company ever. Third ever. And we're getting a tag team championship title shot against the new reality. That's Eric Corvus and Rick Recon.
I know Rick.
We've never wrestled this tag team before. Now, we've wrestled Eric Corvus. I've wrestled Eric Corvus many, many times. But Rick Recon, a little bit of a wild card. To me, we have the advantage because, we've never wrestled Rick Recon, but Rick Recon's never wrestled either of us. That's a 2-on-1 there. That's a 2-on-1 disadvantage for him. And Eric Corvus knows what we bring to the table, but he also knows that we can take him out. This is big. If you're not familiar with ISPW, Independent Superstars of Pro Wrestling, let me just throw a couple of names at you real quick. Former ISPW Tag Team Champions, the Bushwhackers.
I heard of them. Yeah, I heard of them.
The Head Shrinkers.
I heard of them.
How about the Now, who's in the NWA right now?
I heard of them.
We're talking about top tier talent. And the former ISPW Tag Team Champions are Flash Carter and Jay Evans. They were on Raw.
I heard of them. Yeah, I heard of them.
Like, they just lost the titles to the new reality. And I think that the titles are going to move again. Because the light heavyweight title changed hands almost every week at one point last year. And I think it's just a matter of time for us to get that gold. If it's now, I'm more than ready. Because we're talking about Sparta Mania in Sparta, New Jersey at the Sparta High School. And I know, once again, oh, ISPW, what's that? Oh, Sparta High School, what's that? It's just a high school? You are excited about wrestling in high school? This is a high school that has had Hulk Hogan perform in it. This
Yep.
is a high school
I know
that's held
Sparta, New
Andre
Jersey
the
very
Giant.
well. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
This is a high school that has a lot of pro wrestling history, specifically in the 60s and the 80s. And then here we are using the facility as a wrestling event for the first time in probably 15 years. The promoter himself is thrilled about this. And he promotes over 100 shows a year. He promoted at the American Dream Mall for GCW last November. This is the same
Yep. I
promoter.
heard about that show. I heard about
And
it.
what's he excited about right now? He's excited about Spartamania because of this venue, because of what we're bringing to the table. And when we win the titles, we're going to go on to wrestle on. So many of these ISPW shows was exciting because 2 weeks later, Kurt Angle's going to be on the show. A couple weeks later, Hacksaw Jim Duggan's going to be on the show. Like, ISPW brings in talent from all over the wrestling history and the country itself. We were on a show with the Headbangers a couple of months ago for ISPW. I could go on with names and names and names and names. ISPW is awesome.
In fact, somebody messaged me. I won't say who was a wrestler. Actually, messaged me off the air and said, "Oh, I know Rad Dad from ISPW." Yep, a guy. You don't know him. I'll tell you who it is off the air. And he messaged me and said, "Oh, you're having Rad Dad on. I'm a fan of his. I've watched him. Wasn't GTS. Didn't bring you up in Matt Pro. Didn't bring you up in EBW. Didn't bring you up in UWC. Didn't bring up even TF Crew." He said, "No, I know him from ISPW."
That's right. And we just started working for ISPW, I believe last October. And yeah, we had a month or two off since that time. But we were on every single week for ISPW all over New Jersey. And when I say they run over 100 shows a year, I'm being serious. They ran 4 shows in one day last fall. And I'm not talking about, we were at a festival where we ran a different show every couple of hours. No, I'm talking 4 different towns in 4 different locations with 4 different, I don't know if they have 4 different rings, but whatever it was.
That's a lot of money.
Different
I don't know 4
shows in
different
one
rings. I don't know
day.
4 different rings.
Yeah. This is like a traveling wrestling company all over New Jersey. It's legit. It's as legit as it gets, man. With a promoter from I believe he started promoting in 94, 95. Former ISPW champions like Chris Candido.
God rest his soul.
It's wild the amount of talent that has gone through that company. And now we are there. And already we're main eventing shows. We're wrestling for the tag team championship. This is what we've been wanting for a really long time. And we are finally in the drop zone. And all we got to do is secure the bag. And to win the ISPW Tag Team Championship, that's a feather in our cap right alongside everything else. It's exciting. And I hope every single person who is in that area, in the Sparta, New Jersey area, comes to this show. Because we're talking legends. We're talking top superstars on the independent roster right now. We're talking about a traveling wrestling company. How many people get to say that their independent promotion that they work for legitimately travels all over the state on a weekly basis?
Hardly any. Hardly.
We're not the tag team champions of the random VFW down the street. We're not the tag team champions of just one place at all. We are traveling all over. And yeah, we're not the champions yet. But when we are, I'm excited. I'm excited to do it. See, I'm already thinking ahead because this is a big deal.
It's a really big deal. No, I listen. When, like I said, I'll tell you who it is off the air. But when somebody who's at ISPW, and I know Rad Dad from there, that tells you the magnitude of where we're going to be. And that takes place. That's in a few weeks from now, March 1st. That's going to be ISPW Spartamania. And in the main event will be the Stepdads. And they'll be challenging for those ISPW Tag Team Championships. You can go to the Rad Dad Radley Belmont's Instagram page with Papa Bear, Stepdads Wrestling. Also, Stepdads also on X, YouTube, TikTok. And please follow Rad Dad. And you'll be seeing quite a bit of him coming up here in these next few months. Very, very important times. And he's in some big fight matches coming up here. It's about the big game coming up here tomorrow, but Rad Dad is in Super Bowl like matches here coming up literally next Sunday and then on March 1st. So a lot of big stuff ahead. And I hope that you go check it out and follow Rad Dad for all the great things that he is doing. And also check out his show that'll be coming up here very soon. And I highly recommend you do that because it'll be Rad Dad's Wrestling History. And it's a new short form video series. It's 2 episodes a week. And they're generally between a minute and a minute and a half each. And they'll be on most social media platforms. He's on Facebook. You'll see it probably on Instagram, maybe TikTok, and eventually on YouTube. But that's his Instagram page. And go check that out. All right. Before I get to closing thoughts, is there any final words or anything else you want to say before we sign off here?
I do have one more event, Bryce, and I'll throw it out there real fast. Okay. Yeah, no match has been announced yet.
Okay.
But we are going to be at the UWC 30th anniversary event. 30 years. Think of that's like ISPW has been around a very long time, but they've come and gone. They had a hiatus for a few years, unfortunately. It happens. And a lot of companies are, they're around 4 or 5 years, they're gone. Even Matt Pro is a fairly new company. They've only run around 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but think 2 years. But yeah, UWC has nonstop been running shows for 30 years. And I'm not talking every single week or whatever.
People in this chat that weren't even born.
Yes. And some years they only did a handful of shows, but they always had another show on the horizon. They didn't vacate all their belts for 5 years and come back or anything like that. No, we're talking consistency. And it's, to me, that's really awesome. That's really prestigious. That should be known. Like I wish more fans got to learn about these companies that have been around so long and they could appreciate the history that these companies engulf. Like I've said this on the show before, the UWC might be the only definitely the only active wrestling company in the world right now that has had an ECW World Heavyweight title match and a WWF Light Heavyweight title match on their shows. They've done that because they've been around that long. They had an NWA New York Heavyweight title, I think it was. Well, New Jersey New Heavyweight. One of the two. They had all these different interpromotional deals over the years that they got to have this vibrant history. Everyone knows Big Boom AJ, right?
Yes.
Big Boom AJ has held one independent championship in his entire career. It was the UWC heavyweight title. And it was back in, I think it was in like 2001.
Okay.
That's the one heavyweight title he held. Big Boom AJ, UWC. That company is still around. Their UWC heavyweight champion is Flash Carter. It is amazing the history that you can learn from these companies. And here they are on the 30th anniversary event. I am so proud to say that at least last year, the Stepdads defended the tag team championship in the main event of the 29th anniversary show. That was so awesome to me to be given that position in a company that's been around that long. Because the only reason they're around that long is because they know what they're doing. And they enjoy the level they're on, and they're doing it, just the way they want to do it. And they trusted us to be in that main event. And in fact, somebody who was in that main event retired that night as well. So it was a very special night. But here we are at the 30th anniversary. I don't know if we're the main event or not, but I'm very excited to compete on that show and be a part of that. There's going to be a Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I've never been a huge fan of Hall of Fames that are with short companies, but we're talking 30 years here. With a lot of history. They put people in the Hall of Fame who've been retired for 10 years. You know what I mean? Like it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense for them to have these Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, and they're really awesome. They're really beautiful. These guys who maybe haven't been around in a very long time to get to come back and get their flowers, and not every indie wrestler gets to do that. So it's really, really awesome. It's really special. And if you are near New Egypt, New Jersey, at the American Legion, that is where they have UWC. That is their home base. It's been their home base for many years now. I highly recommend come. It's good, clean fun. We are the former 2-time UWC Tag Team Champions. We are the only 2-time Tag Team Champions in, I believe it's like 8 years. And if we become 3-time Tag Team Champions, which I don't know, I'm being serious. I genuinely have no idea if we're even competing for the titles. If we are at the 30th anniversary show and we become 3-time Tag Team Champions, we would only be the third ever tag team to be 3-time Tag Team Champions in the 30 years this company exists. That would be special. And we'd be the first 3-time Tag Team Champions in like 15 something years, something like that. It's a really long time. So it shows the trust that this company has in us, the faith that maybe we can win these titles and be a part of history, a very long history, 30 years of history, over a quarter of a century plus 5 of history in professional wrestling. You think, was it 1996? Think of 96. Professional wrestling in 1996. That's where this company started.
Yeah, I mean, 96 was the NWO was formed. We weren't in the Attitude Era. We had ECW that was, still a regional company. The NWA was basically an independent promotion. I mean, so yeah, I mean, you were at the tail end of the USWA and Jerry Lawler, I think, still may have had his company at the end of it, right? So you think about
a little bit, yeah.
So you think about that at that time in wrestling, and that this company stood the test of time, and they've been here for 30 years. I think that's a tremendous asset. And I've said this before in previous shows. They've been here longer than major promotion companies since then. So you think about that, and I think that's a testament to the company, the wrestlers, and you guys as well. And if you want to find out more information on where Rad Dad will be and where he'd like to be, that's his Instagram page. Follow him there. I also want to make sure you follow and hit the sub button on YouTube. It's free. It actually costs you nothing. So you can hit the sub button. I've been telling that to everybody, and it works. We got Ice-T a couple of subs earlier. He was pretty happy about that. So if you're out there still, do hit the sub button for us. We'd really appreciate that. And also, Rad goes into the Hall of Fame again for 9,000. I really think I should have waited for 10, but I feel like you're going to get to 10 tomorrow. So I feel like I could have wrote it. I had debated on writing it for 10,000. Maybe if you get to 10,000 tomorrow, let me know and I'll redraft you one. So, but nevertheless, we'll give this one to Gabe, and we're very excited about the show. And we had a lot of fun with the Cheenies. I know you won't have as much fun when Angel comes in here on Monday night, but Mark the Shark will be here afterwards on the 24th. So that'll be
the Shark baby.
Yeah, but we won't tell Emily Saxton about that one, because then Emily will have her own, because they got a history there. So it's complicated, to quote Avril Lavigne, but it's never complicated when you're here. So I want to pass the baton for some closing thoughts, and take it away, sir.
I really appreciate that. I appreciate the Hall of Fame. I appreciate all that stuff, because like I said, I got a little emotional earlier. Legacy and being remembered is very important to me, and it's not just all about me, but it's just being a part of something bigger and being able to go to these places with Matt Pro and defend the title. And so many people have come up to me and say, "Oh, that's such a beautiful belt, look at that stuff." And I love telling them, like, hey, this is about autism awareness. If you want to donate, if you want to talk to somebody, nobody's ever alone in this fight. And it opens so many doors. Conversations with people who've known others that have autism, or someone in the family, a personal friend, that kind of stuff. So being able to reach out and talk to people about it means a lot to me, and it allows me to feel like I am part of something bigger than myself. And that's really what a lot of this has been about lately. It's been about a lot of legacy stuff, a lot of just getting my name out there, getting to have the best matches I could possibly have, because I know for a fact 10, 20 years from now, people are going to look back, and when they look back, I want them to think that, wow, that Rad Dad was a pretty good wrestler. We were talking about Cheeseburger earlier. I've gotten the privilege to wrestle on many cards with Cheeseburger now, but the very first time I ever met him was during the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Title Tournament. He wasn't in the tournament, but he was there watching it. And I wrestled one of his students, and I went to the back, and he we hadn't met or introduced each other or anything, but we got to the back and he walked up and shook my hand and he said, I have no idea who you are, but you're a great wrestler. And I'm telling you right now that like to say that made like my month. That made my week, that made my day, that made my month. That this guy who had no idea who I was, there was no bias or politics behind it. He just goes, I want you to know, I think you're a great wrestler. And I think I said something like, well, coming from you, that means a lot. Thank you. And he went, oh, pshaw. And then he walked away. Very humble guy. And fun fact, at Matt Pro Wrestling, the last Matt Pro Wrestling show, he was like, I'm wrestling Angel Santiago for the TF Crew title. And I tried to give him some pointers. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But, Cheeseburger's a great guy.
He's going to be talking about that. Like, he's going to be like Tom Cruise on that episode. You just wait.
See, that's the thing. I love the fact that I don't want to just talk about myself all the time, because when I do great, amazing things, right? Everyone else will talk about that stuff. Angel Santiago does amazing things, but then he just talks about it so much that you only talk about that he's saying it a lot. You don't talk about the thing anymore. You're just talking about, oh, Angel's talking a lot about this thing. Like, it becomes about him at that point, and it defeats the whole purpose.
He said it on Rick's show. He mentioned it on Rick. I mean, listen, he actually said, I've been going on here on Sportswire for 2.5 years, and he's always got something. He said, I mean, listen, I mean, I was there, I was listening to it, and like, that's what he said. I mean, so he's going to definitely be if he beats Aaron, I know we'll talk about, I know we're going to talk about that. If you beat you beat Ace and you go against Angel again in a rematch, I know we're going to be talking a lot about this, but Angel beats Aaron Rourke. You just wait. I mean, you're going to talk about a man. I mean, he's going to be the Gunther. I mean, we're going to put him and Gunther in the same category.
What I hope happens? You know what I hope happens?
What? What do you hope?
I hope that he goes to a time limit draw, so he doesn't beat Aaron, but then I get to beat him. So he can't.
But he'll come back and say, but he'll come back and say that he retained those.
He win. He didn't pin me. He's never pinned me. First of all,
no, but he's going to say that
he never pins Aaron.
He's going to say that he retained. So, like, I know what you're saying, but listen, if he continues his run and still has that championship via draw, he'll come right back on here in Sportswire and he'll just say, well, he walked away against a WWE talent and retained. I mean,
Tom, let me put it this way, Tom. If I text you every day, and I went, oh, another day where I've retained my title, Tom. Wow. Just don't bring me on the show ever again, because I'm just a jerk. I'm just a jerk. I can't I'm not thinking about
I'm not going to do that. Listen, Angel has been coming on for a long time, as have you. And, he did point it out, and I'm sure that'll be a topic, and I'm very fascinated to what he has to say Monday night. And, look, I'm sure get to that. And again, if you're out there on YouTube, please follow the TF Crew TV, where you can see now the matches from prior shows recently. Also go to the TF Crew's Instagram page. Also go to Rad Dad's Instagram page. Also, please hit the sub button for Matt Pro Wrestling. We appreciate everybody's doing that. Also, Rick's page, Del Santo. And, we're excited. And yes, I'm looking forward to seeing you here, let's say, after you defeat Ace Romero. And
that's how we're going to think about it. That's how we're going to think about it.
I mean, look, I'm hoping it's good for ratings. Listen, it's good for the ratings. I mean, you come here and you beat, having you after Ace Romero, just like having you after beating Darius Carter. I mean, that's something to talk about. It's a magnitude, of a moment. It's a milestone. And, I'm looking forward to the match. I'm very happy to be a part of the card and can't wait to talk about it.
Absolutely. Independent wrestling is more exciting maybe now than ever. There's so much great stuff happening. If you're a fan of any professional wrestler, myself included, now is the time to support them, to watch them. There's exciting things happening in every state, every part of every state. And I am thrilled to be a part of this era of independent professional wrestling. My goal has been very very clear since the very beginning. I want to be at the top of the independent wrestling world. And that's something that's easier said than done. But now the Rad Dad is taking on some of the best in independent wrestling. And if you believe in yourself, like I believe in me, that's how you get things done. You get back up, you keep moving. And I'm going to move all the way to the top to every single promotion I'm going to and beyond. We're talking ISPW, Matt Pro Wrestling. We're talking TF Crew. We're talking UWC. And we're talking the GBYWN. I'm going to have one of the best. Nah, forget it, Bryce. I'm going to have the best year of my professional wrestling career this year. No doubt about it. This is the Datitude Era. And thank you. Thank you, Bryce. Thank you, every Step fan, every new fan, every supporter on Instagram, on all social media, on YouTube, TikTok, etc. Thank you for being a part of this journey, because this is going to be one heck of a ride in 2026.
We are in the Datitude Era, ladies and gentlemen, and we are here for it every step of the way, and we'll certainly see. It's a lofty goal that Rad Dad has, but he's got some big names ahead in some big places, and I think if he does what he said here tonight, that he will accomplish the best year of his wrestling career, and that's why you want to follow some of these places one more time. Matt Pro Wrestling on YouTube. Hit the sub button for them. Also follow them on Instagram. Rad Dad's YouTube page. Go follow there. Also, please support our friends over in the TF Crew, YouTube, Instagram. Also, please support Rad Dad on his Instagram page as well. And it is a reminder one more time, we'll give this to Gabe when we're off the air. And we'll give this to Rad as well when we're off the air also, but I still contend he may hit 10,000 followers, which will be make sure he's monetized could be by tomorrow. But we're excited, and congratulations on all of the success so far. I am very excited to have you back on here in the next few months. I have no doubt that the best is yet to come, and really excited to be talking about especially your match coming up with the one and only Ace Romero, which I, again, am a sponsor for at Milford Mania 2026, and for a great cause. And I'll see you here very soon. And definitely thank you for warming things up here.
Thank you very much, Bryce. Thank you, Step fans.
All right, that is Rad Dad Radley Belmont. He's the reigning defending Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion, the GBYWN World Heavyweight Champion. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally, where all music, all sports, and all wrestling matters here. If you're on Sportzwire Radio, you can like, share, and subscribe. I will be here a couple of times on Monday, but the most important one is Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, with the TF Crew. YouTube champion, the man that, he's got a legendary run, it's been 1,000 days and some, the one and only Mr. Angel Santiago. He'll be here at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, and we'll be talking a lot about some of these things. But Rad Dad, listen, if he beats Ace Romero, he'll get another crack at it. We'll see. But thank you, everybody. Enjoy the Super Bowl tomorrow. Be safe out there if you're in cold weather conditions like we are. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the number one global radio